Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the 2025 Australian Grand Prix. Here we go again. Oh, how are we all doing? Ready for quali today? Ready for the race tomorrow? Very exciting stuff. I'm not complaining right off the bat. Australians, I hope you're enjoying your reasonable hour of watching some track action, but my God, is it early. Oh, good Lord. I hope you're all doing well in chat. First of all, our coverage of qualification is brought to you by our friends at F1 TV Premium. For your free trial, follow the link in the description. Everything down there to check out their new service, actually. I don't think it's available in the UK, but maybe where you are. So definitely go check out that link. They're supporting the stream today. So F1 TV Premium link in the description for you guys to check out. But how are we all doing in the chat? Bart says 5:35 a.m. in the Netherlands. Yeah, I'm an hour behind you, so don't spoil anything. I'm aware that's not how time works. But yes, and if you weren't here for the testing streams, yes, face cam. This is my face. I apologise in advance. There we go. So I'll come to you guys in chat in a few minutes. You can let me know how you're all feeling ahead of this one. Some interesting stuff's been going on across the weekend. I've got headphones on today as well, so we can actually listen to the TV for a change whilst we're doing the watch along. Usually I'm just trying to guess what people are saying, but we had FP3 this morning. Really interesting weekend, as I say, for a number of drivers. So Oscar Piastri ended this morning's session with the fastest time of a 1:15.921 and a theoretical best of a 15.8. So there's still time to find potentially for Oscar Piastri. Annette's in chat. Hey Annette, how would you feel about Oscar Piastri pole position today? I bet you go absolutely mental. I'll come and find your Discord later if he does it. George Russell second place, 15.9 with Verstappen on a 16.0 in third place. A much better Saturday so far for Max Verstappen after what was a very disappointing day yesterday. Only practice, of course, I know. Charles Leclerc in fourth place for Ferrari with Kimi Antonelli in fifth place. Actually quietly going about his business this weekend very well, Kimi Antonelli, I think. So big weekend for him. His debut, of course. I think this season just getting up to speed is what he needs to do. So yeah, Carlos Sainz. What a weekend so far. Only sixth this morning, but he was even quicker. I think second yesterday, I think he was, so good Lord. Alex Albon up his seventh as well, so that Williams has got some good pace. I picked them as top of the midfield this weekend, so looking good at the moment. Lewis Hamilton, eighth place, depending on what you read. Some saying he's had a better Saturday than he did yesterday, but I still think he's going to want to be a lot closer to Leclerc. Only a couple of tenths, to be fair, and it's quite a close field, so, you know, a couple of tenths could be all the difference, but we'll see how things go this afternoon or this morning or whatever time of day it is. Yuki Tsunoda in ninth place in the Racing Bulls. Thank God they've sorted that name out, with Lando Norris only in 10th place, but that McLaren looking very good out on track, on rails almost in some instances, although I don't think he's 100% happy, weirdly. Gabriel Bortoletto, great lap this morning, 11th place, a 1:16.7 with Pierre Gasly in 12th on a 1:16.7 as well. Isaac Hadjar, 1:16.7. He did well yesterday and again today, so see what he can do in quali shortly. 8 tenths off the pace. Lance Stroll 14th, Jack Doohan 15th in his home Grand Prix. Is it his only Grand Prix? Depends what the rumours say. Depends what you read. But Nico Hulkenberg 16th, Alonso 17th, Fernando Alonso, sorry, 17th. Esteban Ocon in 18th place. Ollie Behrman having the most horrific debut weekend. Not what I was expecting at all. Well, it's not a debut weekend, but his first full season. 19th place, spun out in FP3 this morning, and then yesterday had a massive crash up at turn 10, going off track across the gravel. And as he rejoined, lost the car and straight into the wall. So really horrible for Behrman. I think he's done about 19 laps this weekend in total. So I will say as well, that Haas not looking great at all, but we'll see if it improves in the next hour or so. And Liam Lawson 20th, he had a mechanical problem this morning, which is why he's down there, but well off the pace yesterday, and actually to Liam Lawson's credit, did actually say that the reason he was so slow is because he was just slow. He just wasn't fast enough. So taking responsibility there, which is always good to see from a driver. So yes, that is your 20 runners, 1.4 seconds covering the field in the end, so quite close. And I think 0.08 of a second between the top three. So yeah, we could be in for a really good day today. But what's really interesting about this weekend is that what we've seen so far, obviously qualifying won't be irrelevant because it sets the grid, but in terms of the data gathered, it's all pretty irrelevant. If the rain hits tomorrow, which I believe we are due some pretty heavy rain around midday, and then it should be light rain during the race. We're going to have a greasy track anyway, so that's going to spice things up tomorrow. So that could open the door for a Max Verstappen, which is interesting. And if you're interested, by the way, interesting is my word of the day, even though it may not be. there was a speed comparison done between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, with the Ferrari looking strong at low speed corners and the McLaren better at medium to high speed corners. So that's something to keep an eye on in qualifying potentially. And in terms of ideal lap times, according to Pablo over at planetf1.com, says Ferrari, in theory, 1:16.4 with, and this is on yesterday's data, of course, not today, with McLaren about 300ths behind, and then Racing Bulls, weirdly, 3.5 tenths behind, and Red Bull 6 tenths off. So I'm not sure how much we can read into that. Probably not a lot, because FP1, FP2 doesn't always tell us everything, particularly at the first race weekend of the year. And of course, like I say, we had a... what was I going to say? The words just will not form in my brain. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so the Red Bull looks much better today, so it may have been 6 tenths off yesterday as an ideal lap time, but then today much closer. So we'll see what happens. We are 15 minutes just over away from qualifying now, the first one of the season. Looking forward to this one very much, and I am live, by the way, tomorrow for the race watch along, which will be live from 3:30 a.m. GMT. I've decided I don't think I'm going to bother going to bed tomorrow or tonight. I think I'll have a nap this afternoon, and then I'll move. I should have moved to Australian time. That's what I should have done, or just move to Australia. I don't like spiders, so maybe not. But Jonathan says, "Hey Sean and Jonty and everybody. Hope all is well. Love from the Lone Star State on this late one for me. Hey Jonathan, hope you're okay." Warren says, "Good evening, or should I say good morning?" Yes. Well, it's a morning. I don't know if it's good yet. It's still too early to tell. Alonso, this is GP2 chassis, says Paradox. Yeah, Alonso not delighted this weekend, is he at all? Expecting the best 20 minutes till starts, says Garson. I think that's pronounced, that maybe very, very wrong. I did see the Ducks yesterday. I'm not sure what was going on there, other than they were hanging out for the day. Best seats in the house, unless of course something went wrong, and then maybe not. That's a bit morbid for the morning, isn't it? But anyway, and that says, "Oh hell yeah," to a Oscar Piastri pole position. And Bart says, "Such a tension this Q3." Q3 today, if this is what you mean, Bart, if I'm wrong, then apologies, but Q3 today could be incredibly tight. If it's anything like it was this morning, I mean, 800ths of a second between the top three is fantastic, and three different teams as well, and Williams in there. I'm not ruling a Carlos Sainz, for example, out of a shock second row start. I know a few would love a pole position for him, but I'm not quite sure. I think some ducks got hit during one of the supercar races, says Warren. Poor things. Ducking hell. 1:43 in South Korea. Excellent timing for me, says Lala. Yeah, other side of the world. I said it in the preview. Enjoy it. I'm happy that you get the odd race at a reasonable hour. I can't imagine having to do this all the time. But then I'm a spoilt European. How dare I? Will Behrman make it through the laps? Says Sad Baroness fan in response to DFO Keith, who says, "Will Behrman make it through Q1?" I would be surprised if Ollie Behrman gets through Q1 today. A lot been made about the fact that Haas didn't run low fuel over testing, and that's something I didn't really pick up on when we were watching. I know they were doing a lot of long run pace, but I thought they'd have done something low fuel, but apparently not. So I'm not sure how big of an impact that was, or big of an influence that was. But Martin Brundle says all it really does is make the car lighter and more nimble. So maybe not. But I mean, the one this morning was he just went too far onto the grass and lost it. And the one at turn 10, we've seen in the past, over the years, very experienced drivers get it wrong up there. So that's something that can go wrong for anybody. So I'm not going to judge him too much on turn 10. But the one this morning was definitely just, they were both driver error, but turn 10, the one this morning certainly was complete and total driver error. Just wandered too far over to the left and lost it. So, also noticed a lot of gravel getting kicked up on in practice yesterday, caused a red flag at turn 6 and 7. They've not reprofiled the corner, but they've changed the curb. They've moved the gravel trap closer to the curb. They've changed the curb to a -1, which means it's level, effective with the racetrack, or drops underneath it at least, to try and stop the cars being destabilised over there and help the transition between the two types of curbs. They've extended the barrier and sort of twisted it around a bit more, so it's not less likely to throw people back into the track, like we saw last year with George Russell and Alex Albon as well. So I did say to John C in some messages yesterday, I wonder if a lot of what we saw yesterday was obviously drivers finding the limit is the first thing, but also a bit of muscle memory maybe maybe I'm reading too much into it and they're still trying to lean on that old curb, even though it's not there. And that's why we saw a lot of drivers off picture there of Charles Leclerc doing it actually. And so they've also got rid of the AstroTurf and put concrete there. So we'll see. We'll see if we get some red flags in qualifying. But red flags for gravel on track is a bit boring, isn't it? So it costs a lot of time as well. Says Sema Dragon there says that it costs a lot of time. So we don't, that cost people this morning. Yesterday. Behrman struggling this morning will have cost people with the red flags as well. Everybody impacted by a red flag, of course, because the clock doesn't stop in practice. So, good morning from rural Thailand. Great work on the live show. Looking forward to qualifying Lewis for top four, says Patrick. Thank you very much, Patrick. I hope you're having a good one. Thought they would red flag the ducks on the grass too, says Nick the Greek. Did they not red flag that, Nick? I thought that. I had in my head that they did. Obviously not. Sauber better than expected so far this weekend after a poor pre-season testing. Hey, Pascal. Hopefully a good season for Sauber. I said in the preview, again, massive year for that team. And good news on Jonathan Wheatley starting in time for the Japanese Grand Prix as the TV now goes to Kimi Antonelli, car number 12 in the pit lane. 5th this morning, like I say. So good stuff. If you are just tuning in, that on screen now is the timing tower from this morning's practice session and final results. So that will change shortly when we get to qualifying, which I'll sort out in a few, assuming it works as intended. If not, we might have a problem, but we'll soon find out. I'll switch that all over in a minute. We're about 12 minutes away from the start of the session. So any questions ahead of the weekend? Any predictions you want to make, and I'll read them out. I have done a poll for you. Which team will take pole position for the Australian Grand Prix? I will stop this at the end of Q2. So far, 49% of you say McLaren, 18% Red Bull, 32% Ferrari, 2% Mercedes, and I imagine a number of you would have liked to vote for Williams as well. So you never know. You never know. But Red Bull looked closer today. Ferrari looked good over one lap. But I think McLaren, early season at least, clearly the team to beat. But then Ferrari were good here last year, weren't they? So there we go. Ewan says, I am having a great weekend. First Grand Prix of the year. My birthday was on Friday. Happy birthday, Ewan. Hope you had a good birthday and a Grand Prix weekend as well. I've got my birthday is a week on Monday. So I get China and then my birthday after that. So and I get a whole 3 days off as well. There you go. How's that? Assuming they get on top of things. We'll see how things go. Warren says, prediction, a Williams will qualify in the top 5. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think that's... 12 months ago, I'd call that bold. I look at that now and I go, yeah, I would say so. Not saying Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon are the same as Fernando Alonso, of course not. But we saw last year that Aston Martin is the 5th fastest car or the 5th fastest team early doors, and he was able to get top 5 in qualifying. So Carlos Sainz certainly can in that Williams, I'm sure. And maybe Alex Albon. That'd be actually based on the weekend so far. Maybe this morning aside, bearing in mind Albon apparently did that lap on the hards. I'm not sure he did. I may be wrong. He may have done it. It would be a bit of a surprise if Albon out-qualified Sainz. So, yeah. Jandro Games, hello. Hope you're well. Annette says it could happen. A top 5 for Williams, definitely. Maya, apologies for butchering names this morning. It's early and I'm also useless at it because, I'm British and we're ignorant. Was just watching some DTS before tuning in. What do you think of the new season if you've watched? I've not seen it yet. And I'm not sure. I don't know if I will. I'm about 3 seasons behind. I kind of stopped watching it. It was... When did I start watching it? It was the Grosjean one. It was after... I think Grosjean had crashed. Or was it... No, I think it was the Grosjean one. Grosjean had crashed at Bahrain that year. 2020? Was that 5 years ago? No, that can't be 5 years ago. Was Grosjean's crash at Bahrain 5 years ago? Or was it 21? Even so, that's still 4 years ago. Where's that gone? Anyway, back to the point. I was just going to say that I kind of stopped watching. I think they fed some team radio over of Romain Grosjean going, SHIT, as he went towards the barrier. And I don't know if that was his team radio, but it felt like that was just thrown over the top of it. And I was like, I can't be arsed with this. And then I've seen some of the stuff as well about the way they framed Max Verstappen at Miami and putting in Zandvoort footage of him looking disappointed whilst Lando Norris is celebrating his win in Miami. And I'm just like, I just can't, I watched it all. I know it's nonsense. I'm not the target audience. It's not a criticism. If you enjoyed it, fantastic. Keep enjoying it, especially season 2. It's a corking season. It's season 2. But yeah, no, I it's not for me, but I might watch it if I've got a bit of time spare and I fancy a bit of an F1 fix, and I might do. But yeah, I do like the. I'm looking forward to the finally watching the Ferrari movie finally, and the Le Mans movie as well on my 3 days off for my birthday in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to that. But can't say I'm looking forward to the F1 movie. Might be great. I don't know. I started watching DTS midway through season 3. I started noticing all the things they changed or altered for the show and couldn't get back into it as a Sad Mariners fan. Yeah, there was a Vettel radio as well, wasn't there, through that one? So Nick says 100% watch the Ferrari movie. Nick's very horrified I haven't watched it. First time tuning in since car launches. Nice to see your face after all these years, Sean. Howdy from Austin. Hey, Mozilla. Hope you're well. Yeah, apologies for the face. Look, it's self-deprecating humour. Yeah, I have to do it. It's just I get it from my dad. Yeah. The thing about DTS that annoys me is when it's crash in Bahrain, then some reactions and off-track stuff from another race is annoying. Yeah. Also, it's not always chronological. I think it's better now from what people say, but it's not always chronological. So we'll jump from Australia to Zandvoort and then back to Bahrain, and that's annoying. If you've watched the season, then I think you don't really need to see it anyway. But yeah, if you enjoy it, great stuff. Not for me. There's something on Netflix I want to watch this weekend actually, but we'll see if I can stay awake for that one. We're 7 minutes away from quali, so I'm now going to. I might leave that time in town. I might take a risk here and see if it might not stay up actually. I'm going to try it. Let's see. We're going bold. We're going bold. I don't know if this will update or not, but we'll see. I've now clicked on something I probably shouldn't have clicked on. So if any sound comes through, it wasn't me, I swear. Wasn't me, Your Honour. I'll take no further questions. Sean's multitasking. This is terrible. Has that changed anything? It has. Look at that. Oh, Multiviewer is so good. The stream is brought to you by Multiviewer, by the way, as well. They provide the live timing for this. Obviously, I can't show the footage. You all know why, copyright and all that business. So I can't do anything about that, but we will have the track map on screen shortly when that kicks in, and we'll also have the live timing from Multiviewer. If you haven't got Multiviewer, link in the description. Definitely have a look. Especially, I think there's a screen limit coming in with the F1 TV Premium soon, so might be worth having a look into how that'll work with both. I know they had some problems with Multiviewer earlier in the weekend that they fixed now, which is good news. But yeah, Multiviewer is free. You do need some sort of F1 TV subscription, but I think with Multiviewer, F1 TV access, all of the archive, it's well worth the money. So definitely go check them out. They do a great job as well. It's this kind of software for free is kind of bonkers in a lot of way to me. I like data. It was brilliant through testing, having all that info. So yeah, I'm going to come to chat in just a second. I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything on screen for you so we're ready to go for quali, because we are only a few minutes away. I'm really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to quali. Also, what do you think of the new F1 titles, by the way? The way they're writing the first names on reminds me of Hollyoaks. I haven't watched Hollyoaks forever, but I saw the titles weeks ago by accident. Definitely not that demographic anymore. Yeah, so if you know what Hollyoaks is, I should say, then you're incredibly lucky. Terrible is what Hollyoaks is and always has been, but yeah. Here we go then. Let's see. So I have a track map on screen shortly. Hopefully that'll all be okay. Tim's this morning. Morning, Tim. Hope you're well, Tim. Carlos' hair is fantastic, says Foot. I know. Jealous. Incredibly jealous. Close I get to hair these days is actually getting my headphones on. It grows everywhere but my head, which is annoying. That's an age thing. F1 TV gets me through the off-season. Whenever I need background noise, I'll throw a race on. Same Sad Mariners fan. I watched the entire 2012 season back a couple of years ago over the winter. Best winter of my life. Fantastic. I'm not even exaggerating either. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. AJ says good morning. Good morning, AJ. Hope you're well. 28 likes, 175 viewers. You know what to do. Let's get those likes up today for the first race of the season, and do subscribe as well if you're new. Lots to come over the course of this season. We'll be trying some content out tomorrow post stream if Sean can stay awake. So bear with us over the next couple of weeks or the next few races. We're going to be trying a few things out on a Sunday and a Monday. So timings might be a bit weird. Some things might be earlier or later than usual, and things might go wrong and whatever. But yeah, we're going to try some stuff out, see what we can do. Nick says F1 TV archives are the best. They absolutely are. The real question is, how many red flags for gravel will we get? One. And I say one about 2/3 of the way through Q1, and then we get a really chaotic ending and a shock exit. But yeah, I think, I don't know what the pecking order is, and this is what I love about this. Coming to the first race of the season, I have no idea, really. And McLaren look like the favourites. Haas look like they're struggling. We might get a surprise. So I'm very much looking forward to how this goes as we go to Crofty and Martin Brundle in the commentary box. I'll put the sound on in my ear in a minute again. But yes, Jesus Christ is here, says 12:56 a.m. In New Jersey, USA, and I'm hungry. Who knew Jesus lived in New Jersey? There you go. Hope you well, mate. 12:56 a.m. and hungry. Midnight munchies. Yeah. Get some Maltesers or something. I don't know. Why not? I've read that once, so I won't read it again. Sema says Ferrari movie was terrible, so that's a mixed reviews in chat, I would say. So I'll give it a watch and I'll let you know what I knowing me, I'll fall somewhere in the middle because, you know, I love to sit on the fence. Feels right having Melbourne as the opener again. It brings back so many memories. Glad the grass and gravel are back. 100%, Nick. Let's pop the silence on here. Any Team Radio. If you hear anything through headphones other than my gob, do let me know. I'll need to turn it down in case copyright kicks in, but it shouldn't do. I did check it. So I've got one of these Shure SM7B things, and it's ridiculously sensitive. Somebody farts in Grimsby and it sets it off. So not quite that bad, I will say that. So we should be good to go. Let's get the track map up, and this is where Sean is hoping. Tries to do it all on one screen this year, which is... interesting. It's an interesting one, so hopefully that's okay, I suppose. It's fine. I'll give it a quick... I'll tell you what, let's make it a little bit bigger. Why not? Look at this. Live editing. It's yeah. And you can see clearly done with display capture because it's just the easiest way to do it. So there we go. That'll hopefully... We've got a Ferrari stopped at turn 14 according to the track map. I suspect Charles Leclerc is fine because the green flag hasn't even gone yet. But yeah. I think Max Verstappen will not make Q3, says Ewan. Interesting. Yeah. How might I be able to watch the season for free? Says that one kid. I don't know if it broadcasts free anywhere in the world. Someone in chat might be able to help you out, and there are, of course, other ways. But actually, for this weekend, back to the F1 TV link in the description. It's actually free for 7-day free trial. So that might be worth checking out if it's available where you are. So link in the description to F1 TV, who, if you missed it at the start, are... supporting us with our coverage of qualification this weekend with F1 TV Premium. So free trial in the description, 7 days. Go and check it out. Might be worth a go. All down to regions, of course. So there we go. I'm excited and looking forward to this amazing live show, says Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. Can't wait. We're green. F1 2025 is go. You're going to argue that practice was technically go, but come on. This is where it really matters. If you're in the States and have cable, ESPN2 has F1. It's a Sab Mariners fan who is not from Grimsby. I haven't said that yet today, have I? So there we go. Last time Max didn't make Q3, he won the race, says Nick the Greek. That's true. Very, very true. Got a queue at the end of the pit lane here. Lots of cars out there. Ocon first, followed by Behrman, Russell, and Jack Doohan by the look of it, unless that Aston's going to get out before him. Few practice starts going on, but lots of cars on track. Russell out on the mediums, apparently. Early one there. So, Warren says, right, Ollie, keep the car on the track and build into it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Come on, Behrman. Hopefully, all goes a bit better for him today. Liam Lawson as well. Not great this morning. Had an issue, so lost quite a lot of time. He didn't even set... In fact, he didn't even set a time in the end, did he? So lost quite a bit of track time there. So hopefully he can find some form. But a shaky start, pace-wise, for Lawson. But I imagine, looking at how Verstappen struggled earlier in the weekend, that Red Bull still isn't where they want it to be, but improvement definitely overnight. Lala says, doing to out-qualify Gasly, question mark. I'd be surprised. Weston says, first time seeing your face. I always thought you were like 25 to 29. Oh, Weston, I wish. 38. 38. I'm getting old, and there's somebody in chat's going to tell me off now because they're older. Behrman has a problem with his gearbox and then says it's okay now, so all sorted in the end. So I was just worried there for him. Maybe it's just his jinx weekend. But yeah, he said on the radio all is okay now, so nothing to worry about for Ollie Behrman. Hopefully that picture thing is the wrong size, isn't it? For some reason. I'll take that off my screen. There we go. Still the same problem, but whatever. I'm trying to sort it. There we go. It's not a big deal. It'll just bug me more than it'll bug you. Yeah. Ollie Behrman seems okay now. He did say on the radio okay now. So as Ocon obviously purple in the first sector, first one to set a lap time. Behrman has pitted though. So Ollie Behrman crashed yesterday. Spun out today and now is in the pits with potentially a gearbox problem here. So Ollie Behrman, Australian Grand Prix jinx. Warren says hopefully they can reset the car. Yeah, hopefully. Be nice to see him actually have a decent session at some point today. So Russell currently waiting for a lap to come in now. I think Ocon will be first, won't he, to do a lap, I believe. Try to find the track map. There we go. Yeah, pay attention. He's round the final corner now. Esteban Ocon down the start-finish straight. Obviously, DRS down there. 4 DRS zones. Ocon opens the session with a 1:17.517. Behrman says, no, it's broken. His gearbox is gone. So Ollie Behrman, I think, is already out of qualifying, and not through a crash, but with a gearbox issue. That's a shame. Oh dear. See if they can fix it. Russell goes fastest on the medium tyre, 3/10 quicker than Esteban Ocon. Hopefully they can fit maybe a Control Alt Delete, but if it's broken, then it might need a gearbox replacement. But obviously this year, in case you missed the news, some did over the winter. No limits on gearboxes. Have as many as you want this season. As Doohan goes fastest on a 16.999. So yeah, no limits on gearboxes this year. As many as you want. Did they replace the gearbox from the FP1 crash, says Warren? I don't know, Warren. That's a good question, though. If they didn't, then that's clearly a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. If anyone in chat knows, let us know. I should have checked that. I didn't think to yesterday, but here we are. Alonso, 16.5 over the line to get his lap in. Purple first and third sectors for Fernando. Alonso, who just keeps going, doesn't he? He'll probably still be doing F1 long after I'm gone. Can't work out whether I like the new purple helm instead of magenta on the timing tower or not. I thought you were going to say about. I thought you were talking about driver's purple crash helmet there for a second. So no. I'm waiting for one to pop up now so I can give you an opinion, a reaction, a reaction to the colours on a timing tower, because that's just what we do here at the F1 Word. Why not? I do like the new timing tower itself, though. It seems a little bit smaller, a bit more compact. So you've got a bit more picture. So, it's more. Yeah, it's dust kicks or gravel kicks there from Norris. It's more of a. It's a pastel-y purple, isn't it? Kind of a violet, dare I say, something like that. So. I do like the old one, really bright, and we've got it on the timing tower that you can see from multi-viewer there. That's what it used to be. So not the biggest deal, but it's a good spot there. But I do think this is a bit slicker, a bit tidier all over the place on the footage, actually. So maybe a tidier. All these graphics we keep getting as Leclerc goes fastest 16.4. Norris is probably going to purple first, green in the middle. Hamilton 3/10 down on Leclerc, by the way, goes third. DRS for Norris. That car really does change direction nicely, that McLaren, doesn't it? As Norris does go fastest. Wow, 0.4 of a second quicker than Charles Leclerc. Long way to go this session, but that is a great start for Lando Norris, who I imagine for some of you in chat as well, a lot of people picking him for title favourite. I've gone slightly bold and gone with Piastri for this year in my predictions because... I'd love Piastri to win the championship. It's no more than that, frankly. I'm not sure if he will, but you never know. This weekend, Piastri pole and win would be fantastic, but I'm really, if we get rain tomorrow, the race watch on will be crazy, by the way. I'll be half asleep and we'll be trying to pay attention to what's going on. If we get anything like Brazil, it's going to be brilliant. As Piastri goes second, a tenth and a half down on Norris. Where did he lose the time there? So 2 tenths down in the final sector. Fastest in the middle, but kind of matched him. There's only 800ths between them. And then a tenth down in the first sector. So not bad from Piastri. Verstappen's quick. Purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Have Red Bull either A, fix their problems, or B, were they feeding us a load of BS over the winter between testing and and the first race? Mercedes used to do that a lot, didn't they? They used to do that a lot. They sort of come out of winter testing, you're like, oh, we're in trouble, and in the first race it's a Mercedes 1-2, and you're like, oh, right, yeah, real trouble. Verstappen goes second, a hundredth of a second down on Norris. So he was purple in the first sector, kind of matching Norris, and then a tenth quicker in the second sector, and then a tenth down the final sector. So nothing really between them. So Norris talking about gravel at the exit of turn 6, and that's because you always talking about a car maybe damage potentially from being off track there, but yeah, no, he's that gravel's because of you, Lando. You bought that on track, but yeah, that's a great shot, by the way, this weekend. I just don't think Oscar will ever have the ultimate raw pace of Norris, says Nick the Greek. I don't know. I think the trouble is we keep talking about Piastri's potential, but this is season 3. There comes a point where we have to stop talking about potential and start talking about whether or not he's delivering. But it maybe is a controversial statement, but raw pace isn't the only way, as you'll know, Nick, to win a world championship. So if he can be consistent and quick enough, he doesn't necessarily need to be quicker than Norris in terms of raw pace, does he? It's one of the quirks, I guess, of a lot of sports, I suppose. You could be the best and not actually win things or miss out. So I think I'd be surprised if Piastri doesn't win a championship if McLaren stays strong. But I also have a feeling McLaren might go all out for this season because God knows what's going to happen next year. If we do end up with an engine formula for 26 to an extent, then McLaren are back to being very much reliant on the Mercedes. So maybe they're thinking go for it this year and then we'll see what happens next year. It could be their best shot for a while. So it would be nice to see McLaren back at the top, but I want to see a Ferrari title, but I refuse to get excited for Ferrari title because I've been doing it for too long and they let me down every year, the swines. Australia should be the first race of the year and Brazil should always be the last race, says Ewan. I agree. Do you remember the days when Brazil used to be like the second race of the year? It wasn't that long ago. I'd say that. I mean, I can't quite believe we're 5 years away from 2020, even though it's 2025, which is quite a surprise, you know, basic maths. There you go. For sure, Norris might make more mistakes. It could even out, but the raw pace, I think Norris is still good, says Nick the Greek. Russell over the line goes 4th fastest with Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, Russell. Drop zone is where we need to be looking, of course, if you are new to F1. Bottom 5 drop out. I assume next year we bottom 6. Yeah. Sir Jim Ratcliffe there. Looking if he can steal some food from Mercedes to take back to Man United, feed the staff because he's so poor. Verstappen's from another world, no doubt. Best driver ever, says Federico. I have this drink connector is too high up. My helmet is stuck on, says Verstappen, or stuck on it, not stuck on. Yeah. Alonso's flying. Not literally, that'd be dangerous, but he is absolutely flying. A 26.3 in the first sector and then a 17.1. That is quicker than Norris. It's purple and purple from Alonso. What's he going to do? Only 5th in the end. Lost his time in the final sector with a 32.8, which was slower than his best, actually. And well done, but he was absolutely flying in the first 2 sectors. So actually, honestly, quite disappointed with that time, but Piastri's just gone quicker anyway in the first sector, 26.2. So we'll see what happens with his lap as we get there. Everyone on the softs except Russell, who's still on the mediums according to the timing tower. So if that is the case, then looking good. The grid this year is so absolutely, it is so close. Good point from Nick as well. Track ramping up a little bit too. It is. We've had F2, haven't we? And F3. as well as the supercars. I think Porsche are there as well. So, or I know Porsche are there. We've got a yellow flag. I guess, given it's at turns... What's that? Lap 12 was full of gravel on the exit curb, says Alonso, who said, that lap was so good. And it was so good until it all went wrong, until it wasn't good. So what was the yellow flag for at turn... It was around turn 8. So what's gone wrong there? Well, this is turn 3. That's not turn 8 or 9. So I don't know why the track said that. But Lawson wide at turn 3. He's not having a good weekend, Liam Lawson. Which is a shame. Look at that. Look at the Mercedes. Running along the ground, it's just sparking. Contact is run so low. Has Antonelli got a problem? Or is that just one of those sensors under the car that's like... It just looks like it's constantly sparking. Goodness me. That is max an awful lot of sparks. That really... I didn't know if he had a puncture or something, but he seems to be okay. He's absolutely going for it, so no problem there. Antonelli only goes 14th. That's a shame. It's very... Martin Brudger said it's very low, that car. It bloody is. Catch fire. Ridiculous. Who's out on track? Hamilton is just pulling into the pits. We've got Antonelli, Sainz and Piastri out there. All have completed their laps, I believe. Not on a hot lap at the moment, so we're keeping an eye on Sainz. But Antonelli, has he made a mistake? So he has run across the curb at turn 6, 7, on the exit of 6 and the entry to 7. But everyone's doing that, so... Has he done any damage? Is that where that came from? But yeah. Interesting. I don't know if he's damaged the car going over that curb a little bit or something, but yeah. Weird. Moray says Behrman crashed again. No. A gearbox issue, which actually chat were... I think it might be Warren was theorising maybe they didn't change the gearbox after the crash yesterday, which would be a surprise. So Behrman is still in the car. I will say that, although those mechanics have just shook their heads, so whether or not that means anything, so they might be able to get him out. I don't know what's happening here. So, what's the bet on Red Bull throwing Lindblad into that car the day he's 18, says Sad Baroness fan. Arvid Lindblad, and I said this in testing, is a driver I've been talking about a lot. Jonty could back me up on it if he's here. He probably isn't. He's probably still in bed because he's sensible. Talks a lot about him. He impressed me in junior categories before he got to F3, so and now F2, of course. So I wouldn't. He seems to be the next one that Red Bull are looking at. But I kind of like Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar to do well this year, and just so Lindblad can have a couple of years in F2 and just mature a bit as a driver, rather than bringing through another rookie or another Red Bull young driver, throwing them into a car, expecting it to stick, and then burning through another young talent like that. So let's keep him going. So keep him learning. Let him cut his teeth in F2 for a couple of years and then give him that chance. But they might need a replacement for Snowden at the end of the year. We shall see what happens with Alonso, Stroll, down at Aston Martin when they switch to Honda. Lawson showing why he shouldn't be in that car once per session. Says Chief sits on bowl. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I think there's something caught under Kimi's car. Yeah, Warren just saying there in the chat. I agree. I think something was... It didn't look to be sparking before that, did it? Then it went over the curb at 6 and 7, and then that started to start sparking. So we are 2 minutes 50 seconds to go in Q1. Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri, Alonso, Russell, Hamilton, Sainz, Albon, Stroll, Hadjar, Doohan, Tsunoda, Antonelli, Bortonello. Who's Bortonello? Are your top 15? Gasly, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Ocon, and Behrman all in the drop zone at the moment. Has Behrman got out on track? No, he hasn't at the moment, so I'm assuming he won't be doing. He was still sat in the car, so I think Haas are trying, but he's going to need to go now if he's going to go. So if anyone's got F1 TV and is watching the onboard, let me know if he's out the car yet. But I suspect, given that we're now at 2 minutes and 10, he's not going to be coming out. In fact, it looks as though... is everyone going out on track? Yep. Bortoletto next, leaving the pit lane. This is better from... Oh, Lawson. I was just saying, better lap from Lawson. And then wide at turn 10. Not too wide, but enough to maybe lose a little bit of time. I tell you what, that Red Bull, certainly Liam Lawson's Red Bull, doesn't look great at all. It looks a bit of a handful. So I hope that he can find whatever. Oh, he's locked up and gone wide, and he's going to be off track in the penultimate corner. And Liam Lawson is surely going to go straight in the pit lane. He will do. And that is Liam Lawson out of qualifying. That's out for Liam Lawson. 16.5 is a projected lap time. We'll have a look at that again in a minute. It was just a lock up at turn 13. Went wide. Lots of drivers have done that over the years, haven't they? Some more controversially than others, of course. But yeah, no, that was a moment there for Liam Lawson, which is a shame. But that car hasn't looked good all weekend. In his hands at least, or his car hasn't looked good all weekend. Verstappen's was terrible yesterday, or not great yesterday as well, but he's found some form now, so some speed. As Tsunoda goes 6th as we enter the last minute now. So he was setting good sectors, yeah, he was. So in fairness to him, he was improving. It was a better lap overall. Chief sits on ball, says not that Lawson deserved that seat, just premature and disrespectful to Yuki and Red Bull's part. They look petty once again. I do agree that I think Yuki should have had a shot, but I also think that I'd take Liam Lawson over over 2024 Sergio Perez any day of the week, because at least he's young and he's your driver and you can try and build him up a bit. But yeah, but I agree. I think Yuki at Red Bull, and then Hadjar and Lawson at RB or Racing Bulls made sense. But let's get back to quali for now. Doohan over the line. He's 8th at the moment, so good stuff from Doohan. Actually quicker than Gasly, who suggested maybe he could out-qualify Gasly earlier. That's not a bad idea. Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Ocon in the bottom 3. That is the checkered flag for the first session. We're down to 0 on the clock, but everyone can complete their lap times. Who is on the bubble? Stroll on the bubble at the moment. Albon goes up to 7th place, and Ocon was the first driver to take the flag, by the way. Hamilton improving down in 14th. Stroll improves up to 13th. Antonelli now on the bubble for the drop. So hopefully he can get a lap in. Hamilton needs to get this as well. He's only 14th in that Ferrari. Leclerc up in 4th, and just a little bit of a slide almost there coming out of the turn 13. Over the line goes Lewis Hamilton for Ferrari and improves to 6th place. So that's better for Hamilton. Antonelli, I think. Bortoleto, personal best middle, as is Hulkenberg. Is Antonelli safe? Hulkenberg goes 16th. Antonelli just hanging on here. Is he on a better lap? Not really. So Bortoleto is really the only threat to Antonelli, but not a great first sector. Good in the middle sector for Bortoleto. He might be close-ish, and he does. Gabriel Bortoleto. 15th place for Sauber. He's through to Q2, and he's out-qualified Nico bloody Hulkenberg. What a session for Bortoleto. What a lap. Well done, Gabriel Bortoleto. But we have lost Kimi Antonelli and Liam Lawson are the big names, really. Nico Hulkenberg out-qualified by Bortoleto. That's a surprise. Ocon out too. That Haas not looking great. And Ollie Behrman, as we know, with the gearbox issue, was out anyway. So we've lost Behrman, Ocon, Lawson, Hulkenberg, and Antonelli. But Gabriel Bortoleto, potentially there, star of the first session of qualifying this season. What a performance that was. What a lap to end with 15th place. 26.4, 17.2, 32.8. So he was marginally quicker than Antonelli in the first sector, despite it not being a great first sector. Marginally slower in the middle sector, and a little bit slower in the final sector, funnily enough. But it was all a good lap there from Bortoleto in the end. 16.4, the theoretical best, but good stuff. There you go. What a surprise. And actually, yeah, 6/10 between first and eliminated, says Max. Yeah, blimey indeed. Very close field. 1.2 separates everyone who set a lap time, actually, down to Ocon in 19th place. This is going to be a close season. We thought it might be. It looked it after testing. I think we might be doing. Pascal says great lap from Bortoleto. Pascal probably doing a little dance over that one. Great stuff. I was waiting for somebody to say it, and I don't know why, but I did think it might be Moray that said it. B-tier drive from Bortoleto there. What a clown Marco is. Yeah. Helmut Marco talking about B and C class drivers like he didn't bring Scott Speed through the ranks. That's a joke. Scott Speed, I'm sure, is a lovely guy and an amazing driver, really. Standouts to Gabriel and Jack Doohan. Great shout on Jack Doohan, actually, Warren. Up in 10th place and ahead of Gasly at the moment. Obviously, a long way to go in this session yet. 2 more, Q2 and Q3, surprisingly, still to come. So that could all change, but a good start for Doohan. I'm really the biggest disappointment for me, obviously Lawson, it's a shame that he's out. He was improving. What would he have done? So 26.5 and a 17.1 were his sector times. It might have been enough, to sneak through. So 26.5 was about a tenth slower than Bortoleto, just over. And then a 17.1 was, I don't know, a few hundredths quicker. So he was in the mix for 15th place. But yeah, Antonelli, just nowhere in his final lap at all, really. So I don't know what happened there because see a replay. But yeah, Bortoleto, big surprise there. But yeah, biggest disappointment, Fernando Alonso's not completing that final sector at the speed he was doing the other 2 sectors, because that would have been fastest time, I think. So in fact, it's no, that's based on that final sector, so that doesn't count. So Sky still hitting us with commercials during qualifying in 2025, says Max. At least it's not during a red flag, Max. Twice on Friday morning, they went to adverts and immediately got a red flag. So there you go. I mean, it's not like we pay for the privilege of watching this or anything. So let's keep these rules for another couple of years. Says Rivandu, my new favourite person of the day, 100%. We said it in testing. Imagine this with another year or 2 of convergence. Why are we changing? I don't know. To get these manufacturers in, I guess, but I kind of feel like we could have left them a bit longer. What's this? Lawson had no tyres end of laps as Lawson, so he was giving it everything. So maybe he wouldn't have got through anyway if the tyres were already failing. But that was a lock up into turn 13. Karun is at the Sky Pad having a look. Feel sorry for Liam. He hardly had enough track time, says Sema. Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's we said it in testing. We kind of all agreed in chat that he is still... We're counting him as a rookie for the first half of the season because he's not done the first half of the season yet. But he has had 11 races. So it's not the same as, say, a Bortoleto, for example, who's done a great job. But what I will say... I'm watching the analysis and watching the onboard of Lawson to see if there's anything to pick up on whilst trying to also make my point. So apologies if I'm stuttering a bit here. But yeah, we caught this on board actually. Coming through turn 10, he just get a little bit widened up on the curb, which would have cost him a bit of time. But it was that final couple of corners, that turn 13, where he got it all wrong. As he got a little bit of twitch as well into 11. And then he's going to throw it into 12, which is a great corner. I love that corner. And then into turn 13, just a lock up on the inside left. And then off he went wide. And that was the end of that. Under rotation, as Karun just called it. That's the fancy way of putting it. I just said he locked up. There you go. But yeah, no, I think the thing with Lawson is, whilst I understand why there'll be people that are loving this moment, and I'm sure Checo fans are very, very happy to see this. He's a young lad. He's only had 11 races in F1. He buys himself more time than Sergio Perez does. So we can all poke fun at Liam Lawson if you want to, as we watch the replay of Kimi Antonelli sparking all over the place. But it's his, Sergio Perez was diabolical last year, and all that experience meant nothing in the end. So give him a chance. I know it'll fall on deaf ears for some, but most of you, I'm sure, will agree. Just give him the time. Few races in. If we get to summer break and he's still doing this and he's been terrible, he's been out in every single Q1, then let's have a different conversation. But I'm not going to start tearing into drivers in the first race of the season. Give it a few races. But he definitely buys himself more time than Perez, but he buys himself less time than, say, a driver in my books. I mean, in the sense that, you know, a driver who is brand new to F1 and never raced in it before. He's had 11 races, so he is an experienced rookie. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I'm just waffling. Let's see what you say. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. To Chief Sits on Bowl. First time here. Great watch along. You'll have read the rest in chat. Thank you very much for your super chat. Appreciate that. Chief Sits on Bowl, and thank you for your comments as well in chat. Always like to come to chat throughout, but you can pop your super chats in. Feel free. I'll always try and get to you in the chat throughout the stream. Please do drop a like as well. 1,300 of you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do drop a like. 85 likes. So more likes. Get it over 100. That'd be amazing. 15 away. That'd be fantastic. And do subscribe as well if you're new. Lots to come this season. We're live for the race tomorrow. Yeah, and like I said earlier, just bear with us for the first few races while we try out new weekend schedules and things and see how we go. But lots to come this season. A lot more than has been on the channel in recent seasons, I'll put it that way. Real push to get some more content out. And thank you again over the winter to Sam and Elizabeth for their work putting out long form and short form content. It's really helped give me time to get things ready and get things up to speed and get some more content on the channel. But we are going for Q2. Hopefully, we're going to get just as close as we had in Q1 there. There was nothing between the top 15, was it? Was it 6/10, I think we said, didn't we? So, there we go. So, I thought this was going to be a walk in the park for McLaren. It looks like Max Verstappen is in the mix at this stage, and Ferrari are not all that far away as Verstappen gets a bit scruffy through turn 10 there, but he is obviously purple and purple because he's the first one, I believe, to do a lap, so that's obvious, but we'll see what he does as he comes across the line for his lap time. But if it's going to rain tomorrow and Max Verstappen starts anywhere in that top 3, I think you'd be crazy not to back him for the win tomorrow if it rains. We saw what he could do in Brazil from the 17th grid slot is where we have to put it for that one, isn't it? Weirdly, that's all changed for this year. 15.6, good lap there. So Albon's going to get a lap in soon as well. We've got lots of cars out on track. Busy session, as you'd expect for the first one. Dex says, "Don't leave out George." He's out there, isn't he? Or have I said something that? Yeah, I'd be surprised. Is George good in the wet? George Russell? I don't think he's bad in the wet, is he? He just doesn't, a Verstappen in the wet is just unreal. But I guess if you talk pole position, I think you could throw George Russell in there too, because Mercedes, it's just close. It's close enough that anybody in that top 4 teams could take pole today if they get the lap absolutely nailed. But yeah, we've lost Antonelli, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Ocon and Behrman, by the way, if you're just tuning in. So what are the chances of rain right now, says Pete. I can have a quick look for you, Pete. Hopefully things... That's the wrong page, Sean. I can check the official FIA weather for tomorrow. So they say increasing clouds and chance of rain in the morning. Rainy cold front crossing the area around midday, giving 7 to 15 millimetres before 2 p.m. A clap of thunder possible at that time. Then light intermittent rain likely during the race, 1 to 3 millimetres. Breezy southwest wind with gusts of up to 60 kilometres an hour in the afternoon. And they officially have it at a more than 80% chance rain up until 2 p.m. And then when the race actually starts, it's at 6 p.m. 60%. So that was a nice detailed weather forecast. I'll get a map and everything next time, and I'll stand there and I'll have a screen and we'll do a proper weather forecast. But there we go. 60%. It's dropped 20% since Thursday. So less of a chance than there was, but still 60%. And as Martin Brunder would say, that's a 40% chance it'll stay dry. So it'll probably be bone dry all day now. What have we got then? Piastri fastest at the moment, 15.4. Then it's Norris on a 15.5 and Verstappen on a 15.6, with Russell 15.7 and Leclerc 15.8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you very much, drivers. Very happy with that one. The Williams are doing crazy. I agree. They really, really are, Merrill. So where are they now? Albon up in 6th and Sainz in 8th. So cracking stuff from Williams. I think they're 5th fastest this weekend at... Well, they're probably just 5th fastest at best or at worst, but I think they are just 5th fastest, aren't they? That's where they are. McLaren versus Verstappen for pole then, says Warren. Possibly. Annette says, go Oscar. I will be able to hear Annette dancing, I think, and screaming if he does it, so that's okay. What's Alonso? We're on board with Alonso here through 9. Love these corners. Alonso didn't there. Big twitch through 9, then another one through 10. A little bit of gravel on the exit. kept going. But yeah, that's a bit scruffy through there. I love that sequence of corners. I really do. Keeping on the floor, bumpy on the floor, but I think he's okay there. We've got a Williams coming through here now. Same corner. He's kicking gravel. Carlos Sainz up on the gravel as well. Says check the floor. Exit of turn 10. Alonso lost his lap time, but I don't think he gained anything from that anyway. So, but yes, he did clunk the curb actually on the exit of 10. So that might have damaged him a little bit, but all good. All good. He's still going as Carlos. I'll check the floor. Fresh set of tyres. A lot of cars in the pits now. But in the drop zone at the moment, we've got Doohan, Gasly, Hadjar, Bortoletto, and Sonoda. It's McLaren. The Ferraris are off the pace, says James. Yeah, but as some have said, James, as well, the Red Bull of Verstappen has kind of bought himself into play a little bit. But I still think pole position will be a McLaren. I agree with that. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer than maybe we were thinking post-testing. So I think Ted was saying there, Kimi had to damage the floor, if I caught that right, over the curb, and was losing 0.2 of a second on the straight to George Russell. I think that is what was said there. If you're listening to Sky coverage, let me know. I think he said 0.2. It might have been 3. I'm not sure. Yeah. Hamilton's 7th at the moment for Ferrari. I was just trying to check a few things, just popping someone in timeout for spamming. Let's not do that. I like to try and chat to chat. I'm a streamer who likes to talk to the chat. I know, crazy. So spamming doesn't really help that. So yeah. Yeah, Ted said the front bib was broken, losing 0.3 of laps to George. I thought it was 3 or 2. Yeah, so thank you, Warren. Yeah, so is that I guess that's the sparking, and that's where the sparking came from that we saw, I assume. Yeah, so that's why he lost that. So where is he? 16.5. He'd have got through, wouldn't he, if he wasn't losing that time? So the damage costing him there. For sure. Doohan currently on the bubble, not on the bubble, sorry, down in 15th place. On the bubble is Sainz in 10th. Yeah. I'm just waiting for cars to get around and start doing some laps now, so they're trying to fill the gap. I can see Mercedes pulling Antonelli out of Parc Ferme if we get the expected downpour tomorrow, says Fudd. That's a good point, actually, just generally. Same with Lawson, maybe. Take them both out of Parc Ferme, put a wet setup on if the rain comes. That's a great shout, actually, mate. That's a really good shout. Didn't think of that. Why not? Not that much difference between 18th and 20th or a pit lane start. Is there? And actually, a pit lane start for Antonelli and Lawson. They won't be in the midfield pack or risk any damage into turn 1, so it might be a good thing for them. Also, don't forget this year, super quickly, I'll just watch this lap from Leclerc as he comes through 9 and 10. Don't forget this year, if you start from the pit lane, you join the formation lap now, and then you go into the pits and you start from the end of the pit lane. So it won't be a case of leaving it to the last minute and pulling out the garage. You have to go around with the rest of the grid. That is because unless it's another reason for it, but I think the main reason for that is because there were people who felt that if you start from the pit lane, you've got an advantage on fuel because you've done one less lap because you haven't had to do the formation lap. So it's to just make it a bit fairer. So there you go, just a reminder. So if Antonelli and Lawson were to start from the pits, they will join the formation lap tomorrow and then pit at the end of that formation lap and start from the end of the pit lane. So there we go. Only 5th and 6th for Ferrari here. Leclerc 5th, 0.3 off, 3.5 off, and Hamilton a 10th further back in 6th. I'm listening to Martin Brundle. He's talking about them needing to. They'll need to go again. There's no doubt about that. Hadjar's 0.9 off the pace, so there's a good chunk of time back there, but he'll find some time in there. So will Stroll, Bortoletto, Alonso, they'll all improve. So Ferrari have definitely got to go again. In fact, let me know what you think, chat. Correct me if you disagree, but I would say anyone from Verstappen down definitely needs to go again. Unless Hadjar is quite a way off, though, isn't he, on 0.9 of a second? But interesting. What happened with Behrman in practice 3, says Chase? Spun. at turn, I forgot the corner, 11, I believe. Was it 11? I think, or 12. It was somewhere around that part of the lap, I'm sure it was. But he spun out on the gravel, touched the grass on the outside as he was coming into the corner, and then just lost control into the gravel. And now he's had a gearbox problem in qualifying, which has cost him any chance of getting a lap time in. So ended up in 20th place and no time. So that was a shame. Chief Sits on Bowl says Hamilton crazy understeer final sector every lap. Yeah, he's not looked comfortable in that car, has he? As I get my Ferrari cup out and show no bias at all. I wish it was coffee. It's not. Drinking on camera, that is so unprofessional. It's not alcohol. It's a bit early for alcohol. Hey, Anushka says, I hope we get a Piastri pole today. Good to see you again. Hope you had a good winter. Ready for F1 again this year. They have been in the pits a while, I agree. They are now going out now. So we've got a Racing Bulls at the end of the pit lane. That livery, I still love it. Less than I did in testing, but I still really like it. So Norris trying to get into the queue there. We've got 3 minutes to go in the second part of qualifying. A third part still to come, of course, which will decide the pole position. This is just for who gets through. We're going to keep an eye, I think, when he gets out there, on Isaac Hadjar. I'm just looking at the lap times and looking at the gaps. I don't think Hadjar's that far off. And Stroll certainly, even though it's Lance Stroll, isn't 1.6 off. So I don't think anybody's comfortable out there apart from maybe the two McLarens who may stay in the... Is Verstappen's coming out? I think the McLarens may well be coming out as well. They are indeed, because Norris was pushing into the queue, wasn't he? There you go. Did Webber or Ricciardo ever take pole in Australia? Come on, Oscar, says Nick. I don't think so. In fact, I was quite surprised. And it's because Alan Jones has won in Australia, but it was a non-championship event, so no Australian driver has ever won an Australian Grand Prix World Championship event. The quirks of F1 and their little caveats and loopholes. So yeah, if Oscar wins this weekend, first Aussie to do it on home soil officially. Although Alan Jones and other Australians as well did win back in 1980, I think. Non-World Championship event, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Going back a bit there. I wasn't born in 1980. That's how long ago that was. No offense to anybody who was born around that time. Oh, Bortoletto, big snap. Exit of turn 4, up on the curb, big snap and a really good save, actually. I'm looking forward to that replay, ideally on board. No Australians ever been classified in the podium. Maybe that was in one chase, yeah. Of course, Ricciardo did make the podium in 2014, but then was disqualified, wasn't he? So, yeah, that's true as well. I want to see the replay of Bortoletto, please. That was a hell of a save. Impressive stuff. I thought he'd gone then. Doing 15th. We're watching him picture. Stroll as well. We're watching on the main picture, I guess, at the moment. I've just noticed the Red Bull nose there. First time I've really paid much attention to that, but there you go. Sorry. I know we're talking about it in the testing series, weren't we, with Matt. We've got a yellow flag. DRS, it's Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton something's happened in the final sector for Lewis Hamilton. Has he got going again? He's had a spin. Where is that? Is that turn... So that's on the exit, turn 11. I think Lewis Hamilton might be in a bit of... Well, he might get away with this here because, of course, he's caused the yellow, which causes cars to slow down, as Doohan not far from the back of his teammate there with that. But I don't think anyone's going to improve here. So Bortoletto has lost his lap time. Doohan does improve to 13th, but he is still out. Isaac Hadjar, personal best. He should avoid the yellow flags, though. So all good there for him. That is the checkered flag. What can Isaac Hadjar do? We're watching him, but then Lewis Hamilton had his spin. Piastri first to take the flag. Hadjar over the line. Stays 11th, but much closer. So closer than he was. A half a tenth off getting through for Hadjar. Carlos Sainz crosses the line, goes up into 7th place. Alex Albon will improve as well. You would think he stays 9th, but does improve I think his lap time. I may be wrong. Verstappen, purple and purple, by the way. So he's absolutely flying through here. Doesn't need this lap now, but I imagine he'll want to complete it. He's put the effort into it, so he may as well. A bit of a twitch on the exit there of turn 13. Nicely out of turn 14. DRS wide open to the line. 15.468 to beat. And doesn't actually improves with that scruffy final couple of corners, but yeah, Norris improves as well to a 15.4 and goes fastest. But yes, and Alonso only 12th. Doesn't get through. So as it stands, we've lost Hadjar, Alonso, Stroll, Doohan, and Bortoletto. Gasly going for another lap. Doesn't improve. Stays 10th. So we have lost Hadjar, Alonso, Stroll, Doohan, Bortoletto. I don't think that's bad for Aston Martin. There'll be a lot that disagree. I thought they were really in trouble after testing. 12th and 13th. It's kind of where they were anyway last year, wasn't it? So Hamilton comes into... Oh, he's just got it all wrong. Yeah, all wrong. At 12... 11, sorry. Exit of 11. I get confused by those corners there. They reprofiled everything, didn't they? And redid the track. So it's changed the corners, corner numbers. But yeah. Luckily for Lewis Hamilton, it didn't affect him. He still ended up 6th place in the end. Personal best middle sector, by the way, before that spin. So I'm guessing poor Bortoletto, here we go, comes through turn 4, hits that curb and a bump on the exit of 4 and nearly loses it, but good save. And got actually more spectacular offboard. Really destabilised the car, that one. And a good save from Bortoletto. But did end up 15th. I still think that's great from Gabriel Bortoletto, by the way. To out-qualify Nico Hulkenberg in his first race weekend and to make it into Q2. I think that's a big win for him. So well done to Bortoletto. But he is out for now. Does Oscar go out again if no one tops his time? Yes, he does, Nathan. So all of these will reset for Q3 now. So all these times are now irrelevant, apart from on Sean's stats that he does a little bit later. Best times for everybody, so we can get the average for the season. But yeah, they'll reset. They'll go out again, and we'll get hopefully the fastest times of the weekend. Should be good. RB looks kind of strong. Maybe Williams is contender, says Kuro Boshi. That'd be a surprise, wouldn't it? I thought Alpine. I mean, Gaz is in the top 10, so they are still quick Alpine, but. The more teams involved in that fight for 5th, the better. Just like the more teams involved in the top 4 for the title, the better. So Leclerc has been noted, by the way. Russell and Leclerc have been noted for impeding at turn 4. So we might get a replay of that shortly. Ty says Williams the 4th team, it looks like. I'm intrigued, Ty. In whose place? Do you reckon? Are they quicker than Mercedes? Are they quicker than Red Bull? Is Verstappen the difference in that car? Let's end that poll. So, which team will take pole position? You got your votes in. Thank you very much. 51% McLaren, 28% Ferrari, 16% Red Bull, and 2% Mercedes. Thank you so much for your votes on that one. Who have you got for pole then? Which driver have you got for pole position? I'm sticking with Norris. I said it on Thursday. Norris for pole, Piastri for the win. That's what I'm going with. But rain tomorrow, you probably change that to Verstappen, frankly. So yeah, let me know who you've got for pole. Nearly 2,500 of you here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this silly little qualify watch along. Really appreciate your company. Please do drop a like. We've got 166 likes with 2,500 of you here. Let's get them as high as possible. Let's see what we can do. See if we can break a stream record. You never know. So please do drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Lots of you subbing. Thank you so much to Janelle, to Maze, to Anu Pisak, I don't know, I probably butchered that, but you know who you are. To Carla, to M. Zain, I can't speak. M. Zainuddin, I can't speak today. There we go. To Leah, you know who you are. To Manshaft, to Leah, to Catherine as well. Thank you so much for subscribing. Get your subs in, get your likes in as well. I reckon we could smash some records. Why not? Let's go for it. Let's be brave and bold. 5:45 in the morning. Yeah. What we got? I'm watching Leclerc here. So this is impeding. So is Russell here at turn 4? What? I mean, Russell could have backed off a bit more, I suppose. Leclerc does get the back end out. I'm not really sure. He was trundling a bit, George, there, but I don't think... No, I just listened to Martin Brundle worded it quite well there. It wasn't being helpful, but I wouldn't say that was impeding. So, yeah, I'd be surprised, but we'll see. It's the stewards, who knows. So, who have you got? Let's have a look. So, Merrill says Mercedes for pole. Sad Mariners fan goes with Norris. Pete's gone with Norris. Piastri for pole for Yinka. Piastri over Verstappen for Merrill. Doing beating out Albert Isaac after the talk of his seat being in the most danger. Love to see it. Easter says Norris. Sainz, as they pull me back into the white room, says XL Echo. Love it. Russell is a pole candidate for sure, says Rivandu. Alex says Verstappen. Kira says Norris. Warren says McLaren, Max, Russell, Ferrari, Williams, RB, Alpine as an order. Trying to find your thing. I'm trying to keep going here. I'm in my hostel and I can hear the cars from here at the race tomorrow, says Jesse. Have a great time, Jesse. Very jealous indeed. Hopefully you'll have a great time. Crikey Boy for pole, says Dex. Jeremiah says I subbed. Thank you very much, Jeremiah. Sainz very promising. Hamilton says Sanjay for pole. Hamilton for pole as well for Jeremiah. Piastri pole. Piastri wins, says Chase. Breathe Sean. WRA Blue Hedgehog says Piastri. And Piastri for pole for Pascal as well. Go Leclerc says Electronic Avenue. Moray says Verstappen. Yinka says Leclerc. Yuki for pole, says Bozzy. Why not? Why? Imagine. We'll say Yuki Tsunoda into Q3. So good stuff from him. And Mozilla says Norris, and Fuzz says Norris pole, Sainz win, Leclerc for pole for Jesse G as well. So there we go. And actually, Sainz, Albon, and Yuki, trust me, I'm from the future. Like I said, I'll stick with Norris for pole, Piastri for the win tomorrow. But again, that's probably more heart over head. But I also think that we could be looking at quite a bonkers race tomorrow. When was the last time, would you say, we had a properly crazy season opening race as the session gets underway? Looks like Russell's heading straight out there. Or was that Russell? I'm making that up indeed. It's Piastri, sorry. Completely different colour cars, but there we go. Still couldn't tell. 21 says Sab Mariners fan. Was that a bonkers season opener? 2020 was, but that was because I think... Was that because it started in July and it all felt weird? No further investigation on the impeding for Russell and Leclerc, which isn't a great surprise, to be honest. Uh, 2020 Australian Grand Prix was crazy, but for wrong reasons, says Fudge. Yeah, that's true. That was a bonkers first race of the season. Yeah, to be fair, cars are too reliable for crazy openers these days. But if the rain comes, it could be quite crazy, couldn't it? We saw with Brazil what the rain can do quite quickly. So hopefully a bit of rain tomorrow, just to give us a nice, really random season opener. Mark says, as long as a Brit wins. There you go. I lived at Port Melbourne. 2010 was a mad year, says Great Britain. Yeah, 2010. Great season as well, full stop, actually. Not just the race. It was a great season, 2010. I think deserves as much love as 2012, actually. It looks pretty dark, says Pierre Gasly. The clouds are rolling in. I don't think any rain was forecast. Obviously, it was less than 10%, I think, was the last time I checked it. We'll see if anything comes of this, but a bit of rain late on would be an interesting twist, wouldn't it? But obviously, it's kind of pointless, actually. I say that, an interesting twist. If they all get a lap in now and then it rains, then that's the session over, isn't it? So let's hope not, actually. Rain between sessions would have been good. That could have spiced things up. But Piastri starting a lap, we're on board. That car, again, changing direction really nicely. That surprised me as stat as well for some reason. Piastri hasn't had a pole. An actual pole position in F1. He's not had one of those just yet, and I kind of could have sworn he'd had one, but yeah, hopefully. Piastri purple in the first sector. Obviously, I think he's the first one to do a lap, is he? He is indeed. Norris has improved anyway by a few hundredths of a second, just slightly better than his teammate. This is the battle. Norris versus Piastri, potentially for pole, but certainly for the fastest time at the moment. I'd be surprised if this isn't those two for pole position, to be honest. One of those to do it. Here comes Piastri now. A little bit of well, not really a toe off the Williams. Williams gets out of the way, and Norris does improve in the middle sector as well. There's not a lot between them, actually, in the first sector or the middle sector. We're talking hundredths of a second here. Leclerc purple. Russell now purple in the first sector, Leclerc purple in the second sector. This is a little bit more all over the place than maybe I was expecting coming into Q3. Piastri literally couldn't have used any more of the track without hitting the wall on the outside of the final corner. A 1:16.1. We are going to be quicker than that for sure. Lando Norris, what can he do? 16.1 to beat. Does a 15.921. What can Leclerc and Russell do? They are in the mix, and actually Norris's time has been deleted apparently. Oh, that was what? No, it has been deleted. It's gone. Leclerc goes fastest on a 15.7. Charles, don't do this to me, Charles. Don't. I will not get excited. Where's Anushka? I will not get excited about a throw. Russell beats it anyway. There you go. That's why I don't get excited. A 15.6 for Russell. It's all Hamilton fourth on used tyres. Those top three are all on brand spanking new tyres. Verstappen is flying out there. Purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. What does he do? Again, a little bit slower in the final sector, but goes fastest. This is anybody's. Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Piastri. Norris was quicker but lost his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 4 on lap 17. His 17th lap, so 1:15.9. 1:15.9 though only puts him fourth. Oh, is this going to be one of those seasons where we all think we've nailed it and then it just all goes bonkers? Why not? Track temperature, by the way, I think it has dropped 40.6, air temperature 30.2. So not as hot as was forecast earlier in the week for today. Hot enough, and that's Norris well wide at turn 4, but I think to be fair, not a great lap anyway, a 15.9. So, and then wide again at 6 and kicking up the gravel again. This could be, yeah. Max contending in a slower car, says Jacob, question mark. They've done a lot of work overnight in that car, so they've definitely found speed. They just didn't have it. Oscar Piastri wide at 13 as well, by the way. Pretty close to the wall on this at 14.2. So scruffy laps from both the McLarens. One, Norris getting his lap time deleted. Piastri also scruffy, so there is definitely time still on the table for both of them. In fact, theoretical bests, Piastri's a 15.4, Norris is a 15.3. So that does put them ahead of... so put Norris fastest, would put Piastri third. On theoreticals, but obviously that's only theoretical best. So I read that wrong in terms of where they'd be. I think they're both the fastest, wouldn't they? Yeah, they would. Ignore me. Williams' comeback is so cool, says Merrill. Yeah, it's good to see. Really would like to see Williams up there. McLaren, Ferrari, and Williams at the front would be pretty awesome. That'd be a proper throwback, wouldn't it? It really, really would. Morris, I had a feeling that was the case. More times are fine for McLaren, but I still think unless a Norris or a Piastri throws in a stonking lap next, I still think your likes of Verstappen, Leclerc and Russell are in the mix here. This is good stuff. And actually Verstappen on the curb at the exit of 4 as well, so that will have cost him a little bit of time. Kind of riding the... maybe a bit, yeah. Not too much though. Julian says, nope, just because he got provisional pole doesn't mean he's getting pole. I mean, obviously, but thank you for confirming that. I'm trying to look outside the top 4 here, top 4 teams. Albon 5th, Tsunoda 6th. Hamilton down is 7th at the moment. Gasly 8th. Sainz 9th, and obviously Norris's time was deleted. Sainz's lap. What do we miss on Sainz's lap? Why is he down there? Let me know if you've seen it on chat, if you've got the onboards for F1 TV or anything like that. Team effort. Team effort will get there, definitely. And what have you. Yeah, but Sainz down there on 17.3. It is used tyres, but Albon was used tyres as well. It's considerably quicker. 1.2 seconds. So, yeah, aborted. Yeah, maybe aborted lap. What we're watching for Hamilton here as he comes through turn 11. He's spun here, of course. He's going to go wide, isn't he? Yeah. kicking up the gravel on the exit there. But yeah, not comfortable in that Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. We saw that on day one in testing, didn't we? Really not comfortable in that car, and then he kind of came good as testing went on. So, I mean, even a driver of Lewis Hamilton's experience or a Fernando Alonso, you've got to get up to speed in the car, haven't you? A new team and all that. So, but I think, yeah, I don't know what they're talking. They're doing stats again on Sky, and it always throws me. Meryl says, I have a maths exam in 2 hours. I'm cooked. Good luck. Maths is not my strong suit. And if anyone who's followed the channel for long enough, they will confirm that for you. My maths is terrible, particularly on a live stream. Try to do maths on a live stream. That's always good fun. Let's see then. Here we go. I'm not reading that. Definitely not. Zach says, what's the weather like? Dry at the moment. 40 degrees air temperature, nearly 41 degrees. Sorry, track temperature, nearly 41 degrees, 40.9 to be specific, and 30.9 air temperature. So a bit cooler than was expected, but still quite warm. But tomorrow, I think the temperatures pretty much plummet tomorrow, and it's set to rain. 60% is the threat for the race start, but it's supposed to rain about 80% chance for the rest of the day. So, in the morning. So whatever happens, we're going to get a greasy track if the rain comes. So weather's all right. It is cloudy though out there. It is getting dark out there, as Pierre Gasly said. Previous polls: Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton. In fact, I think Hamilton was every poll 2019, 18, 17, and 16. Wasn't he 4 in a row at least? So yeah. Would you rather Adelaide Street Circuit or Albert Park, says Chase? Definitely. Definitely Albert Park. I had to think about that for a second there, just to double check I definitely was right. But yeah, I like Albert Park. I'm a big fan of Albert Park. So, yeah. Here we go. Drew says, Checo was fine. It was the car. I would accept that argument if he'd not been disappointing in that dominant car they had in 23. I'd buy that argument if that was the case, but you know, it was more than just the car. He definitely didn't have, he definitely struggled with the car. I'm never going to deny that, Drew. I would never do that, but yeah. We could stop the Checo stuff though. We could all hop on the Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz bandwagon we seem to be on this weekend. So there you go. We'll do that instead. Norris then, Piastri, both have time to find here. Like I say, theoretical best 15.3 for Piastri and a 15.1 now for Norris. He's just on a 25.9 in the first sector. So Norris is flying. Piastri 400ths down on Verstappen here as we go to 1:20. These are final runs realistically here for McLaren, because you need to recharge, don't you? We've only got 1:15 left. So Norris quicker than Verstappen, but not purple. Verstappen 1100ths down on Norris's fastest time. But that middle sector is good from Norris, but it's not spectacular. So this final sector, we've seen Verstappen lose time in this final sector across the weekend. So let's see what we've got. So Piastri over the line, goes fastest on a 15.1 by half a second over Max Verstappen. I'll shut my mouth. Here comes Norris. They're getting excited in the crowd, but I think Norris is about to go even quicker. Does a 15 flat to go even faster, but Verstappen is purple in the middle sector. Sean's starting to pump up now as we come to 30 seconds in. We've got a McLaren front row lockout. Norris on pole, Piastri in P2. Russell moves up to third place on a 15.5, so there is a big gap to the rest of the pack. What can Max Verstappen do as he comes to the line? He's not going to do it. He goes third, 0.4 of a second off, really, at 0.385 overall. Purple in the middle sector. Charles Leclerc is not improving massively. In fact, he's not improving at all. Gasly goes up to 6th place. Lewis Hamilton, personal best. I think McLaren have this, unless Lewis Hamilton is going to pull off the most incredible final sector you have ever seen in Formula One. I would be surprised. Over the line he goes. Hamilton to 6th place, just behind Leclerc, so not awful. A couple of tenths off, to be fair, though. And that, I think, is going to be it. Here comes Carlos Sainz. Over the line, he goes into P8, so not as good as we were expecting. Behind Gasly, interestingly enough. What can Alex Albon do? He comes across the line and goes 5th, does Alex Albon. What a lap from Alexander Albon, a 15.737, 6.5 tenths off the fastest time, but out-qualifies both Ferraris, the Alpine of Gasly, his teammate, and Yuki Tsunoda. Great lap from Alex Albon. I said at the start of the day, or start of the session, if Tsunoda goes 5th, I'll shut my damn mouth. Yuki Tsunoda, on the Tsunoda hype train we go. I said at the start of the session that I thought Albon out-qualifying Sainz would be a surprise, and he has. So well done, Alex Albon. But Yuki Tsunoda hopping up into 5th place in the Racing Bulls. With Lawson down in 18th, I suspect I know which way social media and some in chat are going to go with this one. But yeah, great lap from Yuki Tsunoda. So Lando Norris is on pole position for the 2025 Australian Grand Prix. 0.08 of a second quicker than Oscar Piastri, with Max Verstappen in the end nearly 4 tenths off the pace in 3rd place. But if you'd have offered Max Verstappen 3rd place on Friday morning, I think he'd have taken it, to be honest. George Russell, 4th place for Mercedes. Good lap from him. 4.5 tenths off. Yuki Tsunoda in 5th, half a second, nearly 6 tenths off, but still a great lap from Tsunoda. Alex Albon 6th. Anushka, what's happened to Ferrari? Charles Leclerc, 7th place, 6.5 tenths off. Lewis Hamilton, nearly 9 tenths off in 8th place, 2 tenths off his teammate, and only marginally 7 thousandths of a second quicker than Pierre Gasly in 9th. And Carlos Sainz, what happened to Carlos Sainz? 9 tenths of a second down in 10th place, but wow. What a grid that is. And McLaren, we said it after testing. We've been theorising ever since they'd be the dominant force coming to Melbourne. It did look after those first laps as though it could be anybody's. And as Max looks at his floor there, and I did get excited by that. But then as soon as you read the theoretical best, you knew that if McLaren had clean laps, they were going to get it. And they did in the end. So Norris on pole position. Anushka says, we'll get back. Don't worry. Yep. I've been saying that since 2008, Anushka. We'll be back. This is our year. That's it then. That is your grid. We'll be live for a few more minutes yet. We'll have a chat for the next 15, 20 minutes or so about tomorrow's race and see where we end up. But if you do go now, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do drop a like before you go and subscribe. Live again, 3:30 a.m. tomorrow for the race watch along. So please do join me for that one. Looking forward to hanging out with you all again. It's always nice to do these and chat to fellow F1 fans, because otherwise I'd just be talking to myself because I'm weird. So thank you so much for your support this morning. Likes and subs, always appreciated. Thank you as well again to another super chat. From Chief Sits on Bowl, says that thanks again, have F1 room in GT7 at Monza after quali. Thank you so much for your comments and your super chats today, Chief Sits on Bowl. Really appreciate that. So hopefully see you tomorrow. Please do get your questions in and we'll answer some questions. We'll do some predictions as well shortly. As well, yeah, we were up at 3,800 viewers at one point there, so thank you so much for your support. That'll drop now because people have seen the result, and that's fine. Hopefully see you tomorrow. But yeah, so Norris on pole, Piastri 2nd, Verstappen in 3rd is your top 3. I mean, headlines of the day, McLaren, bloody rapid, but we kind of knew that. Verstappen clearly has solved whatever issues he had yesterday to a point. Still nearly 4 tenths off, though, to be fair. Yuki Tsunoda, one of the laps of the day, for sure, 5th place. But I will say as well, one of the laps of the day goes to Gabriel Bortoleto, to be fair, to get himself into Q2 and out-qualify Nico Hulkenberg. Surprising to see Ferrari as low as they are. Really surprised to see Albon out-qualify Carlos Sainz. Great stuff from Gasly as well. I don't think 11th is bad for Hadjar on his first F1 outing. And Antonelli and Lawson both out in Q1. And Haas actually were pretty bad in testing, it turns out. So there we go. Drew says, so many Yuki for the win. There you go. Yuki for the win. Why not? That'd be incredible, wouldn't it? That would be absolutely fantastic as the marshals sweep up at turn 10. A bit of gravel by the look of it. So, yeah, your top 3. Different order, but pretty much as we were last season, aren't we? 2 McLarens and a Red Bull up there. So, there we go. Dave says 104 for me in the morning. Yeah, 6:05 here, so I'm in the future, so I'll not spoil too much for you, Dave. Has to break hearts this season, says Killjoys. Yeah, worrying for Haas, but I hope this isn't another one of those years where Haas just go, right, we're writing off 2025, we're focusing on 26, then 26 they just do nothing. Yeah. Nick says... Nick's very good at grounding me, as Nick says. After all the unpredictability talk, the top three were fairly predictable. Yeah, I agree with that. But I tell you, Verstappen third, if it rains tomorrow, could be favourite. Obviously, even Max Verstappen in the rain can make a mistake and get it all wrong. But yeah, I think that's going to be a great fight tomorrow. McLaren race pace, by the way, looked great in testing. So if it is dry, they might be pretty comfortable. We'll see how things go. How do you think Gasly will do in the race, says Andrew? I think I'd be surprised if Antonelli doesn't come through to an extent. It's difficult to overtake here, though, isn't it? Really difficult to overtake. Even with 4 DRS zones, it's not the easiest. So that's going to be tough. But I think Gasly can score points tomorrow. I think he can. And that sounds obvious from ninth place, but I'm just looking at who can come through. But Antonelli and Lawson coming through is possible in the quicker cars, but on a difficult track to overtake on, and the weekend that in particular Lawson's had, it's not a guarantee, is it? So I think Gasly has a shot at points, but I think Tsunoda could do something awesome tomorrow, especially if it rains. So, yes, it is over. It is over. Lando Norris on pole, Oscar Piastri second, Max Verstappen third place. So, there we go. All done. Just the race. The most important part of the weekend, which I cannot wait for. I cannot wait for it. Cadillac 2026. They start Nightingale. They've got another year yet. What happened to Leclerc? Says Vamshi. I'm not sure. I didn't. I'm sure someone in chat will let me know as I'm saying this. But the pace. There was a point where Ferrari looked in the mix for pole, but the second runs just didn't seem to work. So I'm not really sure what's happened to Leclerc unless I've missed something. But rain tomorrow is going to be interesting. So ran out of fresh tyres, says Fudd. That makes sense. He's got used tyres on the graphic there. So if he ran out of fresh tyres, then that would be part of the reason why that will be. So Easton has got to go to sleep. See you in a day. Yes, see you tomorrow, Easton. Thank you very much. I might go and have a lay down after this, or a lie down after this, but then I've got to be up anyway. So any gossip from Planet F1, says Moray. Do you know what, Moray? That, my friend, is a banging question. Let's go and have a look at the group chat. I imagine they're all half asleep, to be fair. See if there's anything in there. Interesting, looks like they all got hyped up like we did at one point there, but no, it didn't really. Nothing in there as far as I can see. So nothing there. Man United joking there, which I won't read because it'll make me cry. Gossip is Gasly's car wouldn't turn off after quali, says Lewis. Or Louis. What do we decide we were calling you? I can't remember if it was Louis or Lewis. We did agree on something in the end. No problem. Thank you very much for joining us. Or joining me. There's no us. It's just me. Well, everybody in chat as well. We're a team, aren't we, when we do this? Sainz was a surprise. I will say that. I'm really shocked he's down in 10th. He was second at one point. Yes, I did in one of the sessions yesterday, wasn't he? So hopefully, apparently anything. I'll call you Steve then. There you go. Sorted. How much more? Sainz was a surprise. I thought it'd be higher than that, but obviously, I'll always say when I do these streams, just a kind of a caveat, I guess. Obviously, I'm watching it with you. I've got the sound, but I don't always catch everything. So if you are watching later, don't be like, wow, Sainz did stay on the radio, but I may have missed that. So, but yeah, I'll watch the onboards later and we can talk about it in the morning before we get going for the race. So look at some of the reaction there and we can go into a bit more detail. But Yuki only 24. It feels like he's been in F1 for ages. This may be his breakout year, says 5. Is he? Phone's out. Shaw's Googling. Is he only 24? It's always Yuki said his height is always the first thing that crops up. He's only 24. Bloody hell. Because Swan is a bit older than that. No, you're right though. He does feel like he's been F1 for ages, doesn't he? If there is a Yuki podium, there needs to be a shoey, says Ian Blackwell. If it's a Yuki podium, I think we'll all be doing shoeys, won't we? A bit of a surprise by that one. Yuki still needs better consistency, says Nick. Yuki deserves better, and Yuki is way better driver for Red Bull, says Aeon as well. So, yeah. B and Berry says, can you buy me a membership for F1 TV? I can't, unfortunately, but there is a link in the description for a 7-day free trial, which I know is only 7 days, but go and check that one out. It's you'd at least get it for 7 days. If I could, I would, but I can't, unfortunately. So apologies. He just needs a good team now. I still think Yuki's going to end up at Aston Martin. He's a Honda. Always remember with Yuki, he's a Honda Junior. And not, well, he's a Red Bull Junior, but he wasn't a Red Bull Junior. He's a Honda Junior first, then Red Bull Junior. Honda going to Aston Martin. It just kind of fits and makes sense, doesn't it? So, yeah. Jacob says, been watching you for a while. Keep doing your thing because you do it well. Thank you very much, Jacob. Appreciate that. Always nice to get. Well, you've all been great this morning. I was like, well, you're all great. Yeah, thank you very much for your support this morning. And it's early in the season, early in the morning. In fact, the first 3 races are flyaways, aren't they? They're all early morning, and then we get to some sort of closer to a European time with Bahrain and Saudi, and then we go off to Miami. We don't really get a proper European run for a while, so it's a bit all over the place first season, early in the season. But I enjoy these early races. Always have. Are you streaming tomorrow? I am. Yes, I'll be live 3:30 a.m. GMT. Well, just after that, I set the stream off at 3:30, and then I'm usually with you for about 25 to 4. Lights out at 4 a.m. tomorrow, an hour earlier than we were for quali. Don't forget. So that's an early one. But yeah, it's early, but I enjoy the early races. I'll make the usual comment I always do. It gives me the rest of the day to chill. I've got the rest of the day off. This is my half day off. But I'll be asleep within the hour on the sofa, so it's kind of pointless, but there you go. Gotta go to bed. Keep doing your thing. Love this channel. Thanks for answering my question about Gazzy. No problem, Andrew. Have a good sleep and hopefully see you tomorrow. Medrul. Red Bull may pull a mid-season swap between Yuki and Liam yet, says Matt. It's possible. Obviously, long way to go. I'm not going to get into it too much, but just theoretically speaking, if they don't feel Arvid Lindblad is ready for Racing Bulls next year and they want to keep Tsunoda on board and they don't want to have to try and find somebody else to fill a seat, and Lawson isn't delivering, Red Bull might turn around and say, we want to keep Yuki, let's put him in the Red Bull, put Lawson back in the Racing Bulls, and then we've got our 4 drivers without having to bring somebody else through and burning through a young driver. Just a theory. I'm not going to write Lawson off yet. It's race 1 of 24, long season. Even if we just go to summer break, you're still looking at 12 races, so we'll see how he gets on tomorrow and through the rest of these first few races. But yeah, I'm not writing any drivers off just yet. What do you think of the rookies so far, says Pascal? You just want me to talk about Bortoletto, don't you, Pascal? That's the truth. I think Bortoletto was fantastic today. It's not just the getting through to Q2, but to out-qualify Nico Hulkenberg is a really impressive first outing in qualifying. Hulkenberg last year was great in quali, if you remember. And I think if you consider that, and the fact it's Bortoletto's first race weekend, that's doubly impressive. So great stuff from Gabriele Bortoletto. I was impressed with Antonelli pre-quali. I thought he got about his business quite quietly and consistently through the weekend up to that point, but it turned out he had damage on his floor anyway. The front bib was broken, so that's why, and he was losing 0.3 of a second on the straights to Russell. So that's probably why he's down there. So I'm not going to start tearing into him too much on that one. I think Behrman's been the biggest disappointment today, really, all weekend. Shockingly bad all weekend, and then obviously the gearbox issue, not really. I could argue it's his fault if it wasn't changed after FP1 because he crashed the car, but the team should have changed it. We don't know for sure on that one. That's just a theory. But yeah, disappointed with Behrman this weekend. A couple of really big mistakes. Expected more, but it is again race 1. Jack Doohan actually as well, I think, to be fair. He got caught out by the yellow flags earlier. As MS Bars actually says in the chat there at the same time as me. There you go. We're on the same level, which is a terrifying thought for you. But there you go. Yeah. So yeah, Doohan caught out by yellows. I think he's done well as well. Hadjar actually. Do you know what? All the rookies I think if you count Lawson, obviously not, and obviously Behrman's crashes, I think have done well this weekend, but stand out for me in that car against that teammate, I'd go Bortoletto today. Hadjar was really good today as well. 11th place. He could score tomorrow. I picked him as a bold prediction for P10. So who knows? Who knows? Ferrari's worse than last year. Don't say that. Don't make me cry. It's too early. Sean, I've been here long enough to not worry about being on the same level as you. It's still a terrifying thought, though, isn't it? There you go. Hulk is known for qualifying so impressive of Bortoletto, says Annette. How are you feeling, Annette? Second place for Piastri. Not far off pole. He could win it tomorrow, can't he? Wouldn't it be great if Sean got all his predictions right for the week at the first weekend of the season? Russell says Liam can't really qualify when his car is having issues. I know. Did he have issues in quali as well, Russell? If he did, then I apologise. I missed that. But I know he had issues in FP3, didn't he? So yeah. Mesquite says ignoring GR. Come on. If you mean George Russell, we'll talk about rookies, mate. So I'm not ignoring George Russell. I wish I could, but I can't. That's a joke. There was a thing, if you weren't ever testing, that would sound really awful, won't it? But in testing, Stuart was pointing out that apparently I really don't like British drivers. I tried to explain it. We ended up in a bit of a debate with chat over it. So, we're talking about rookies, not unless Russell is Russell. We don't class Russell as a rookie. Definitely not. We could do if you want to. But yeah. Count him if you want. I don't mind. There's still 1,700 of you here, nearly. But I'm looking at chat, and I have a feeling that some of you are a bit behind. So if I do read your comment out, and it was from an hour ago or whatever, apologies if it's all out of context. But yeah, there you go. Do you think Lewis can finish top 5 tomorrow? Says Nat Nail, or Nael. I apologise. Again, terrible with names. Generally, just terrible with names. No. Well, can, yes. Will... If it rains, you'd maybe argue possibly, but again, doesn't still get his grips with the car. Difficult track to pass on. I'd be surprised if he's top 5 without a bit of drama tomorrow. But again, not going to write off Lewis Hamilton after one race in that car, or one race weekend in that car. So what's the latest weather for race time tomorrow? So we checked it earlier. I'll do another check now. We may as well. Then we'll start getting ready to sign off for the day. But latest at the moment is the same as earlier. So if you missed that one, I'll read the whole blurb. Why not? So, increasing clouds and chance of light rain in the morning. Rainy cold fronts crossing the area around midday, giving 7 to 15 millimetres before 2 p.m. local time. Clap of thunder possible at that time. Then light intermittent rain, likely during the race, 1 to 3 millimetres around there. Breezy southwesterly wind with gusts of up to 60 kilometres per hour in the afternoon. And in terms of just look at the forecast itself, up to 2 p.m, 80% chance of rain. At least, and then from lights out, which is 3 p.m. local time, I believe, is 60%, and it stays at 60% for almost the whole of the race. And actually, temperatures as well. Bearing in mind temperatures today, track temperature currently 31.4. Air temperature 31.4. Tomorrow we're dropping to just 18 degrees. So it's going to drop off quite a bit tomorrow. So. Look, things could shuffle again tomorrow with the rain, but also the cooler conditions. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend. So that grid there, great stuff. Well done, McLaren. But it could all switch up tomorrow with rain and colder temperatures. So we shall see. Nick says perfect. 60% chance means the rain won't be too heavy. Yeah. That's the other thing as well, and this, I guess, if you're a seasoned F1 fan or you've been around and watched it for a few years, you'll know. But if it's too heavy, we won't go racing, will we? That's the problem. So you want something that's wet enough for inters, but not too wet. Because if we move to the full wets, then we're unlikely to see them. Because if we at full wet conditions, then it's usually too wet to go racing. And we've got new full wets this year, haven't we? So that might change. So, yeah, good point. With those temps, I see Andrea win it. Why does everyone call him Kimi all the time? It annoys me. Apparently, well, I actually raised this question actually in testing. I asked if he was an Andrea or a Kimi, and I got my head bit off. He's literally never been an Andrea. He's always been Kimi, so I assume it's Kimi. But I think he said when he was asked how to pronounce his name, he did say in the F1 thing that everyone calls him Kimi, so it's just Kimi. So yeah, I don't know why. I don't. Yeah. Do you think Lewis will perform well than he did last year in the championship standings? It's a close field, so he could do worse, but it's hard to see how he does. I mean, that was his worst championship finish in his career, wasn't it, in F1? So I'd be surprised if he's worse than that this year. But then many things have surprised me over the years. So there you go. I can't work out Ferrari. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing, full stop. Yuki P5. Yep, very excited for Yuki. I'll do a few more questions, then I'll tell you what, we'll do 9 more minutes. We'll wrap up at 6:30 UK. So 9 more minutes and then we'll call it there. But yeah, if you've got any questions, get them in now and I'll see how we go. I think it's going to depend more on how good Ferrari is and how good Lewis is, said Cadenza. Dybala over the world. Who do you think will have the best start and move up the grid the most? Antonelli. I think will make I think in terms of starts, just the start itself, Leclerc gains a couple of positions, I'm going to say. Overall in the race, I think Antonelli will come through to the points. He's going to gain quite a few positions. So, yeah, that's that one. Yuki is a freaking beast. Absolutely agree. Great stuff from Yuki Tsunoda today. Ferrari have done the same as in 2022, but not during the season, but after the last one. They seem close, only development fail, and then they fall far behind. I hope that's not going to be the case, but it's a shame. I thought Ferrari were in the mix, but they're just not. That's a big gap. 6.5 tenths. I know Leclerc didn't have another set of new softs, so that's going to make up for some of that. Couple of tenths, maybe a little bit more, but well, probably even more than that. Actually, yeah, he could have been up there in sort of 4th, 5th place, but that's still not where I expected Ferrari to be after practice yesterday, but also after what we saw in testing. So there you go. Oh, Ferrari. Get your predictions in chat then. What's your top 3 for tomorrow? I went with, what did I go with on Thursday? I went Piastri for the win. I think I went Leclerc second and Norris third. And then I think for the rain, I said Verstappen for the win, Piastri second and Hamilton third. I would probably refresh that final one now. But I think I'll stick with that. I'm not going to stick with that top 3 because I don't see Leclerc getting the podium from there. So I'm going to be a little bit dull, but say Piastri for the win because I'm going to stand by that because I'm determined. Norris second, Verstappen third. How boring is that from Sean? Look at that. I swapped one position around. And Yuki Tsunoda stays top 5 somehow. There you go. So get your prediction in your top 3 on the grid. I'll read a few out in just a moment. And we'll go from there. Just listening to Hamilton's team radio. Do you know, I don't think how weird is it hearing not Bono over the radio to Lewis Hamilton? That was weird. Hamilton generally feels good, which is a surprise. Says he had a good time, so we'll see. We'll see how things go. So yeah, get your top 3 in, and I'll read some of those in just a sec. I'm just gonna do a quick refresh of everything, make sure we're working okay before we finish off, and make sure we're good. Thank you again to everyone who's tuned in this morning. It's great to have you here. So please do drop a like as well if you haven't already. 437 likes. So doing a cracking job. And subscribe as well if you're new. Join the likes of Jason and Thunder Ranger, Jacob, Richard, Aeon, Cobus, Gaz, Earl, another Jacob. Thank you very much for your subs today. Really appreciate that one. And I did read the super chats, didn't I? So that's okay. I read the super chats for a change. Wow, I did remember. Usually gets to the end of I've forgotten about 3. So there you go. Did manage it in the end. So thank you very much for your support today. So let's have a look at your top 3s then in the chat. I've given you mine. I'll say it again. Piastri, Norris, Verstappen. If we get rain, Verstappen, Piastri, because I want him up there. I don't care. And do you know what? Tsunoda. Screw it. Let's go Tsunoda. I fancy a Yuki podium. I think that'd be great stuff. Annette says Oscar for the win. There we go. I'll come back to that. If I remember to come back to that, Mario, I will do. If not, we'll remind me in the morning. I'll get the document up for the upgrades. Yuki for the win, says MSC Biles Ferrari is a joke. Says Biker John. Tell me about it. Good luck predicting a wet race, especially around Albert Park. It is a street track as well, don't forget. We will see a safety car tomorrow. So I would like to see Yuki get a podium. Says Ivex. Moray. It's 6:25 in the UK and is already drunk. Says Alonso, Behrman and Doohan. For top three. Pascal says Piastri, Norris, Tsunoda and Bortoletto P10. If Bortoletto gets P10, what an achievement. MSC goes Yuki, Max and Carlos. Nick says guarantee safety cars tomorrow. I agree. Is Brad Pitt better than Lawson? Says RF. Not if that trailer's anything to go by. Juan says Hakkinen first. Yeah. Dex says Piastri, Verstappen and Russell for a top three. Cadenza says Norris is better with his tyres and he's on pole. He's going to beat Piastri unless he has an incident or something. If he gets off the line. We all know how everyone blew that Lando Norris start thing out of proportion last year. He was bad at the starts and tyres last year, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't all the time. Maya says that Yuki on the podium tomorrow. Again, I'd love to see that. Saya says that, I guess at least both Ferraris made Q3. Knowing that team, they could have been 16th and 19th or something. Do you know what? I'm taking that as a positive. That's a nice way to go to the rest of the day for me. Andrea Stellis thinks Ferrari underperformed, apparently, and overheated their tyres, so that's why they are slow in the last sector. Could be. We heard Lawson, didn't we say, he lost his tyres in the final sector, so... Lando, Yuki and George says Darren, Piastri, Max and Norris for Annette. Lando, Oscar and Leclerc for Blake. Norris, Verstappen, Alonso for Saya. Alonso on the podium would be great as well. Lando, Leclerc, Piastri says Neon. RF says Hamilton, Alonso, Piastri. Nick says Verstappen, Piastri and Russell. Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc for Warren. Piastri, Norris and Russell for Kaori. Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. I read that one. Sorry, I'm reading some twice here. BX Gunner says Max, Oscar and Carlos. Do you know, when you put first names in, it throws me. And I should have said that because that's all you'll do now for the next 24 races. Piastri, Russell and Tsunoda, says Maya. Lala says Yuki, Oscar, Albon, podium. Ooh, what a race that would have been. Piastri, Max and Yuki for Thane. Why is no one talking about Doohan? We did talk about Doohan a little bit ago. Especially, I think we said he... got caught with a yellow flag as well, so could have been even better than 14th. So a good weekend for doing so far. Just to repeat what I said earlier for you, in case you missed it. Cole says Max, Piastri and Norris. Let's do a couple more and buy a couple. I'll probably end up doing like 4, you know what I'm like. Hadjar, points first time out, says Johnny. If it's raining, Max will win for sure, says Corn. Yeah. I would say for sure, but I think he's got the best shot. Me man says Piastri, Verstappen and George. Mesquite says Lando and Piastri fight. George goes around Lewis Hamilton style. There you go. I'm going to do these last 3 and then that's it. Chinonso says Lando, Oscar and Max. Lady Blah Blah says Verstappen, Albon and Leclerc. And Shrey says Lando, Verstappen and Russell. And thank you, by the way, to those who threw their subs in there after I'd done a couple of shout-outs. So thank you to C-Dev, to D. Oakley, to Arctic Dragon, and to... Is it Tuna? And Jason for subscribing. Really appreciate your support there. So I think, given that we are basically at 6:30, we are going to leave it there for today. I'm just going to mute Sky because they do drive me absolutely mad in the nicest possible way. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure this morning to chat to you all again. Loving the fact that F1 is back. That's the most important thing. But it's good to chat to you all as well and catch up after the winter. And hopefully we're going to have a fantastic season. It's looking good, but McLaren, the favourites. Just a reminder, Lando Norris on pole, Oscar Piastri second, Max Verstappen third, George Russell fourth, Yuki Tsunoda, possibly driver of the day, I don't know, in fifth place, Alex Albon sixth, Charles Leclerc seventh, Lewis Hamilton eighth, Pierre Gasly ninth, Carlos Sainz 10th, it's Isaac Hadjar 11th, Alonso 12th, Stroll 13th, Doohan 14th, Gabriel Bortoletto 15th, Antonelli 16th, Nico Hulkenberg 17th, Lawson 18th, 19th for Ocon, and 20th for Ollie Behrman. I'm going to disappear. Please do drop a like before you go and subscribe if you're new too. Lots to come this season. Very much looking forward to spending it all with you. But as ever, it's early. Leave me alone. I'm really screwing the sign off out. So there we go. It's all gone wrong. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.